This is probably the wrong phrase to use, but I'm going to use it anyhow because it just makes sense. And the phrase is this: it is the job of a narcissist to invalidate you. Well, yeah, I get it. It's nobody's job to invalidate you, but I say that in the context, it's just what these people do. They invalidate you. Now, what do we mean by invalidate? We're going to tell you how to invalidate invalidation, but what does that word even mean? Well, think of the word value. Do you have value? Absolutely, you do. Every human being has value, and in my opinion, we are all entitled to have a sense of value. But there are some who want to take away your sense of value and add it to themselves. They want to take away your sense of worth and add it to themselves. So by putting you down, they put themselves up. What do you call those people? You call them narcissists. You call them psychopaths, covert narcissists. And those people are in your life. I guarantee you. Now, if you're watching this video, chances are you are currently engaged with a narcissist. But even if you're not, those people are out there. And if they're not engaged with you at this very moment, they're going to be in the very near future or sometime in your future. So these are things that we need to talk about. So when the narcissist comes along and tries to invalidate you, how do you invalidate the invalidation? Number one is this: hold up a mirror. Now, I'm not saying hold up a literal mirror, but I'm metaphorically speaking saying reflect the narcissist attitude back at him or back at her. In other words, make him or her justify themselves. So what they're saying is you are lacking worth. Your idea is not very good. Your thoughts are not worth listening to. I got a better idea. Your contribution to the family or to the workplace or to the church or to whatever you happen to be, and your contribution, that's worthless. Why do you even bring that up? That's invalidation. So how do you reflect that back at the narcissist? Well, what I would do is I would ask them a question. And these aren't specific questions that you would ask, but these are the types of questions you would ask. So you may ask something like, well, what's your point? What are you doing? You're just reflecting it back on the narcissist. So the narcissist say, that's a dumb idea. Oh, it is? Well, what's your point? Make them justify themselves. Reflect it back to them. Or you may say, oh, really? Well, what makes you think that? Or why do you say that? You're reflecting back to them. And notice these are questions. You're not making accusations, you're asking questions, and you want to ask questions, you want to frame it as questions, because that obligates the narcissist to justify himself. Or you may say something like, well, how do you know? You ask that question, what does the narcissist have to do? Well, the narcissist has to expose himself as a narcissist, and they don't like to do that. How do you know? Well, because I'm smarter than you. They're not going to say that because this sounds arrogant. And the narcissist, as arrogant as they are, they love to come across as humble. They just have a constant diet of humble pie as far as they're concerned. So when they are putting you down, make them validate their invalidation. Number two is this: state your truth as a question. I don't know where that phrase comes from, state your truth or my truth, whatever, but it's a good phrase, so I use it. So somebody has a criticism or an accusation, or they're putting you down because they're a narcissist, they are invalidating you, and what you do is now you are stating your opinion. Let's think of something really simple. The simplest thing I could think of. Let's say that I would never do this, but let's say that I'm going to paint the inside of my cabin white. No, don't worry, I'm not going to paint it, but and if I were to paint it, I wouldn't paint it white. But let's say that I'm going to paint it white. And a narcissist comes in and he says, No, you need to paint it blue. Why would a narcissist do that? I told you this is a simple illustration. I'm trying to keep it simple on purpose just to make the point. Why would the narcissist say that? Because he or she wants to have the upper hand. Obviously, she is smarter than you, and whatever you decide needs to be invalidated so they can validate themselves. And so you would respond with a question, and you always frame it as a question. It would be, okay, well, why is blue better than white? Again, that's a form of mirroring. Do you see that? And they have to validate themselves. So you invalidate their invalidation by forcing them to validate their opinion. And guess what? They have a hard time doing it. I've used this strategy many times. Okay, let's say that you're on a road trip with somebody and they want to stop and see this site. Okay, you're okay with that. So you stop to see the site. I'm not much of a sightseer, but sometimes when I take a long trip, yeah, I like to take breaks along the way. Maybe my wife wants to stop, take a break. Okay, let's do that. But let's say that you were somebody who was obnoxious, narcissist, and while they're looking at the site, they want to go to the store, then they want to do this, and they want to do this, and they want to do this, because they know that you want to get back on the road because you know that, hey, you're the one driving, you're going to be up late. So how do you invalidate that? You ask them the question, why do you want to do that? And always frame it as a question. Okay, that may be a silly illustration, but I think it drives home the point. Number 3 is this: minimize the invalidation as a mere opinion, and try to use the word opinion when you do that. So you may ask the question, okay, well, is that your opinion? Now, what you're saying is your opinion better than mine? Is your opinion better than everyone else's? Do you have the best opinions on earth? You're implying that tacitly just by asking the question. So you are minimizing their invalidation as nothing more than one person's opinion, because the narcissist presumes that he or she is always right by virtue of the fact that it's their opinion. But they don't stop and think that it's just an opinion, that their opinion may not be any better than anyone else's, and probably is not. Maybe once in a long time they could have an opinion that actually is superior to everyone else's, and that's okay, but not all the time. So when you come back with a simple question, okay, well, that's your opinion, right? Or is that your opinion? And just be quiet. It's kind of fun to watch these people because, they don't know how to answer these questions. Number 5, hold them accountable. So the narcissist has made a decision. The narcissist has invalidated you by overriding your decision. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Doesn't matter if he or she is right or wrong. What matters is he or she is overriding your decision. So you would come back with a question, something like this. And it doesn't have to be this exact question. Again, these are just ideas. But you could say something to the effect well, what if I don't want to be held responsible for your mistake? How is he or she going to respond to that? Is he or she going to say, well, don't worry, I will be responsible? No, they're not going to say that, because then they're admitting that it could be a mistake. So hold them accountable when they try to put you down. And that's what invalidation is. Just putting you down. Hold them accountable for that. Hold them accountable for the ramifications, for the blowback, for whatever damage is done. Make sure they understand you are going to be held accountable, because you know what's going to happen. They make a decision, it doesn't go well, and who do they blame? You, right? So you want to make sure that from the very get-go, from the very onset, you are going to be held accountable for this decision. And that's assuming you cave in and let them have their decision. Number 5 is this: End the invalidation with a firm no. How hard is that? Well, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it could be a little more involved than we actually think, but it's not hard at all. Just to say the word no, right? Okay, there are ramifications, and you know that because there's some words that you don't say to a narcissist, and one of them is you don't say no. Now, there are other ways to say no, and one of them is to just flat out say, nah, you're wrong. You know? Or maybe you could say, that's a stupid idea. Or maybe you could say, I flat out disagree with that. I mean, that's just the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Where did you get that? A little bit strong, but sometimes, hey, a narcissist needs to hear that. And by the way, when you do that, you can count on the narcissist to blow his stack or her stack, whichever the case may be. You see those two rectangles on the screen? If you want this conversation to continue, let's keep going. All you got to do is click one of those two rectangles and we keep on talking together. If not, well, thanks for stopping by and we'll see you all next time.